Yo, Lester here. So sa video na to, pag-usapan natin how to build a website for your business. And this will be a guide for my fellow entrepreneurs. I actually own a digital agency and a software business. Ayun, nagbe-build din kami ng website. Mostly ang dinideploy namin are mga CRMs, ERPs, accounting, inventory. Pero of course, this day and age, you cannot have a tech stack without an actual website. So I've been building websites for many years now, around 15 years. And I've seen a lot of different challenges for different companies. Hopefully, this one will be a good starting point, especially for those na wala pang website, na ngayon pa lang magpapagawa. Yeah, you can make sure you're making the right decision. All right, let's get on with it. Why do you still need a website in 2025? You probably all know social media exists, diba? You can put all your information on Facebook, on YouTube, on different platforms out there. Pero there's a ton of advantages of still having your own website, and let me show you what those are. Most of the time, before they buy from you, they actually search on Google, or now in this day and age, sa AI, ChatGPT. And there's a lot of instances where kapag hindi nila nakikita na may website ka, parang, so it creates doubts ng legitimacy ng business mo. Unless kilala ka na nila. Most legitimate business have websites. So I'm not just Facebook, we're not talking about just Facebook to build trust, no? If you're so big on social media, maybe, most of us aren't, right? Definitely a website is something that can help you build a lot of trust for your potential customers. Very important then, can give you control kasi you can design your own. You don't have to rely on how Facebook looks like or Instagram or TikTok looks like, and you can have your own brand colors. You can have all font and images elements that you need para sa iyong website. Again, we will talk about credibility over and over again. And more importantly, it can also help you with your conversion. Meaning a lot of websites, they make sales or whatever that conversion you need. Download, them attending an event, signing up for something. So a lot of different things that you can definitely do on having your own website. How do you get started? First, most important is defining your purpose. Para saan ba itong website na to? What's the goal? Do you sell? Most probably. Give information if you're a blog or a news channel, or you want to get inquiries of your events, of your products, of your services. So all of those are important. But you have to define that. Kasi whenever you start a new website, hindi maganda yung kalat-kalat yung goal natin. So you have to be specific first, and then expand and grow. You can make sure that you are hitting those goals. And that would help whoever's gonna build your website, which we're gonna talk about later, a little bit later, para clear din yung intention how you build and design the website. Who's your target market? We're not really just talking about putting something online and hoping that people will actually find it. You have to define who they are. If it's not very clear to you, just check who's buying your services or your products, and that's your target market, right? And same thing with the website. The whole goal of having a website is bringing potential customers to your platform, to your channel, and clearly defining it in the beginning is definitely a very important step. What action do you want visitors to take? So if someone goes to your website, do they download something? Do they buy something? Do they set an appointment? Do they just read and subscribe? So let's define that. And you know what they want them to do kapag nasa website mo na sila. Make sense? Alright, I hope that's clear. Ultimately, how will it fit into your overall marketing strategy? Website is just one channel in your what we call integrated marketing communication. So obviously, you'll have emails, you'll have social media, you'll have face-to-face meetings, you'll have content, a lot of articles you can put on your website. But overall, there's a certain overarching strategy, and website always fit into that. And how you should be able to define that. And we can help you if these concepts are new to you, all right? So website is definitely a very important piece in the overall lead generation and building your brand. Alright, now we've defined the purpose. We have to identify ano ba yung mga pages talaga na kailangan mo. So these are the 6 essentials. Now, there's a lot of other pages that we can add to it, pero I highly suggest we start with these. So, of course, your homepage, pretty much the summary, everything, that first thing that people will see whenever they go to your website. Put your about page on a different page, about your company, about who you are, and why people should work with you. Your products and services, definitely very important. How they can contact you. Typically, there's a contact us page. There's a form, there's your phone numbers, there's emails, there's your map, and all those different ways that people can connect with you. It's also very important, especially now in this day and age of AI, that you have a blog or news page on your website. Yes, you can publish in social media, but a blog gives you that ability to be searched on Google, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on, the concept of SEO, search engine optimization. So it's typically through a blog. That's where you get all these kinds of potential traffic if you publish articles and important and useful information online. So that's typically a standard part of any website these days. Not as important as the other pages, but system pages. Like sometimes people will find dead links on your website. So it's 404 pages. There are privacy pages. There are terms and conditions. There are login pages. A lot of different pages that sa simula hindi mo alam na kailangan pala, but they're very, very essential. So budget reality. All right, averages, and it's not like a standard in the industry, but it'll be around this amount, no? So if you're doing it yourself, yes, you can save a lot. I agree. I started with this business of doing website, and I do it mostly. Do it yourself. So 25, 20,000, you can even be free if you know how to do everything. But obviously the cost of it is the learning part of it. And if you own the business and you're just gonna start learning it, then it might take a while. It depends. So that's why we're giving you all the possible options. Second is a freelancer, hiring a freelancer. So usually a one-man web design team that do everything. So the pro is typically these are people that knows what they're doing. Typically the disadvantage is if this person is not expert in your industry. So every industry have a way to build their own website, and not everyone can be an expert in that certain industry. Like in my case, my expertise is around recruitment website that talks about IT and software, business to business. I've worked with a lot of different industries, but I definitely do not know everything. So if you can find someone, a freelancer or a solopreneur that is an expert in their industry, then that's a win-win. Last but not the least, you talk about agencies like us. So these are bigger website that might need more things to do, and oftentimes will be connected to other tools such as your ERPs, your accounting system, your ordering system, your fulfillment. Aside from actually building the website, it's very important that you understand what a domain name, hosting, an SSL, and all these assets that you have to put into your website, like photos, emails, and including maintenance. So I'll discuss that in a little bit later. So you know that there are other costs that's involved that you have to understand as someone who wants a website. All right? How to decide? How do you decide kung papagawa mo to hire a freelancer or work with an agency, or you do it yourself? No. First question, can you create clear and engaging copy? Is that something you can do? Even if you know the business, not everyone, or very few actually, are writers. I wasn't in the beginning. Of course, now this day and age, there's ChatGPT, so yeah, you can use that. But if you don't have the expertise and the knowledge, the background, or writing web copy, then it might take a while for you to actually, even with the use of AI, to create the proper copy for your business. So think about that. Next, are you a designer? Do you even design stuff? Yes, there's Canva, there's obviously AI. All of these are tools. If you hand it over to someone who actually built websites before and designed websites before, and they use these AI tools, that's way, way better that a beginner can definitely do. So consider that. Website needs technical skills. Are you comfortable with managing tools? I'm not even asking about do you code? No, we're not even talking about that. We're talking about managing different tools, from hosting, from domain, from the backend of your website, from SSLs, all these different aspects of website that you will need. We have that tech skills. If not, then you have to consider that. And ultimately, the time. If you want to do it your own, then that's definitely the one that will take the most time. So you have the time to maintain it, to learn it in the beginning, right? So having all of this, you can make a decision. What's important? I think the most important is what's the goal, right? To get customers. And to get to that point, there's a lot of different steps. Do you want to go through it? Are you okay? You definitely got to be involved in it, but in most cases, it's better to have someone who do it for a living. Here's some important concept that you have to learn if you are going to build your website or have someone build your website. You understand what your domain name is. Typically, that's the name of your business, right? And .com or .ph, .com.ph. Us as web designers, developers, we can help and guide you picking the right domain name. Hosting is where your website files are stored. It's essentially computer or server somewhere. If you're in AWS, if you're in GoDaddy, then you're using their computers and you store your files so it's online. It has a monthly cost. Typically, it's rent. You rent the space every month. Last but not least is the CMS, or short for Content Management System, the tool to manage and edit your website. So the most popular one is WordPress. I use HubSpot. We have our own CMS as well that we use for our clients. So there's a lot of different considerations. I'm picking one, but ultimately the most important is how it fits into your overall tech stack. Do you have someone to manage it? Do you know how to manage it? So all those considerations. So choose based on your technical comfort and goals, but we can definitely guide you from start to finish if you are looking to build your own website and pick your domain hosting and CMS. All right, let's move on. As mentioned, popular CMS options, WordPress, very, very popular. Shopify for best for e-commerce, Wix and Squarespace. And if you're starting out, then I definitely would recommend Wix and Squarespace as a starting point. And of course, custom build, total control, but most expensive. We do custom build for our clients, especially the ones that would need customization in terms of process, automations, and ultimately fit in your specific business. Front end versus back end. So it's a very simple concept. Front end, what do your customers see? Your design, layout, buttons, and it must be mobile and friendly, fast, and clear. The back end is what your team will see if you log into the back end of your website. So that's where you see data payments, security, secure, organized, integrated with local payments. So that's where you'll see if you have like an e-commerce where you see the orders. If it's connected to like a recruitment website and where you see the people that applied. So very self-explanatory. So why do you have to know this? Because depending on how complex or simple your website is, then you gotta have a consideration on how you'll manage it. And typically, it's in the back end how you manage it, what you see on the front end. All right, phases of a website build. Phase one, you plan. We talked about it, the goals, what are the pages, what are the contents that you need, and then you buy all these domain hosting and install your CMS. And then phase three, after you build them, check mobile views, the links. Of course, you can set up an analytics. We use Google Analytics most of the time, or you can use like the analytics of a CRM that you can use. We use HubSpot for that one. Then you can go live, and obviously you have to let people know that you have a new website. And then very important, you update it, you make a backup, and keep on improving it. Don't make it static. It's something that a lot of business owners forget to do, like build and forget. No. Websites are meant to be improved on and optimized over time. So some practical tips, no? Yeah, we definitely would suggest that we think about people going to their phones because there's a different design for mobile and for desktop and for tablets. But what we usually call it is responsive design. So it'll look good on every type of devices because people obviously uses different devices whenever they go to different websites. Depending on the audience, what language do you use? Now, most websites you can do multilingual, so you can change language depending which country. But if you're just locally or in the Philippines, then you probably will use English or Taglish. If you can add trust signals, permits, real photos of your company, not stock photos, contact information, certifications, you are legit and a real company. That's very, very, very important. And then there's a concept called optimized local SEO. So search engine optimization, you can actually be found, especially if you have brick and mortar store in your area. So that's something that we can help you build in your website. And if you can integrate your social media to your messenger, chat for convenience, then that's definitely a recommendation as well. And as mentioned, maintain and grow. Make sure you check the analytics, how to read it. We can help you do that and then read analytics for your website. What pages are important, how long they stay, how do they get there. So all of those are important concepts that you have to learn. Fresh photos, your prices, your pages. Obviously, you have to pay your domain and hosting. If it's getting slow, if it's getting outdated, then definitely you have to update. And typically, for most CMSs, it's a one-click update for the different elements of your website. Last but very, very important recommendation, start simple and keep learning and improve as you go. So as you can see, it's a lot, right? That's why we're here. We're companies like us. We help companies build a website, make sure they get the most out of it. And in our case, we even connect that with other business systems such as your accounting, your ERP, your CRM, because essentially your website is another salesman or a marketer, right? So you have to see that in a bird's eye view, how this fit into the different tools and softwares that you have within your company. So if you need help with all of these, companies like us, you can contact us and we can talk about it, how we can plan and identify the best approach for your website. So yeah, I hope that helps. Again, my name is Lester and thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.